Pierre Poilievre loves free speech. You can tell by the way he hates talking to the press and hasn't responded to any of our requests for an interview. Maybe he just doesn't check his email, but he did reach out to me personally with a very thoughtful robocall.
I'm common sense conservative leader Pierre Poilievre calling to give you a special invitation to my Spike the Hike, Axe the Tax rally at 1 p.m. Sunday, March 17th in Halifax.
And the next Prime Minister of Canada, Pierre Poilievre.
Happy St. Patrick's Day, Halifax! I can resist everything except temptation.
I tried to get Pierre to notice me by playing it cool. But I did have to stand in line with my fellow patriots. Wow, Pierre Poilievre, such an honor to meet. My name is Dan, I'm with 22 Minutes. It's so nice to meet you. Canada's next Prime Minister and laser eye surgery success story. Congratulations, I think you're doing an amazing job. If it was up to me, you'd be the leader of the opposition for the rest of your life.
Well, I won't be, sadly, for you and you and your, but you know what? You'll have to earn a living rather than getting it from taxpayers' money.
I love that you're cracking down on crime, all right? I love that you're cracking down on murderers, thieves, CBC journalists. I love that you're cracking down on axing the tax.
That's why your ratings are so terrible. All
right, my friend.
No, I think that's Heartland.
Thank you, sir.
Listen.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Pierre, we love you, Pierre.
Okay, thank you. Just come up this way. You're done. Getting snubbed by my hero was the greatest moment of my life. So I decided to get back in line and do it again.
I'm happy to wait and just, cross my fingers, I guess.
Yeah, okay, well, we're going to have to just monitor our timing.
Mr. Poilievre, me again. We've got a lot of big questions for you. We want to know, what is your least favorite province?
Right.
And could we save money by sinking PEI into the sea?
I think we could save money by spending $1 billion less on terrible comedians.
Absolutely.
And propagandists from the PMO.
Your critics are saying that your policies are far right, even authoritarian. How will you stamp out that dissent when you're Prime Minister? Thank you. Thank you for standing up for freedom of the press. Let's bring it home. Canada! 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 Well, one thing is for sure. Canada is broken. But that guy in there, that's the guy who's going to finish the job. For 22 Minutes, I'm Dan Dillabow.
What do you think of that? Here, let's look at it again. Forgive me. I just want to point out a few things. Look at the first 8 seconds.
Pierre Poilievre loves free speech. You can tell by the way he hates talking to the press and hasn't responded to any of our requests for an interview.
Is that what free speech is? A conservative politician has to be interviewed by an unfunny government comedian, or it's censorship? Yeah, no, I don't think so. By the way, the CBC and 2 of its reporters literally filed a lawsuit against the Conservative Party a couple of years ago. Why would any Conservative Party politician be interviewed by someone who sued them? In fact, to be accurate, it was an anti-free speech lawsuit from the CBC. The CBC was arguing that the Conservative Party didn't have the legal right to use short clips from CBC News in their videos. That's not true. Canadian copyright law allows short excerpts to be used by anyone. It's called fair use. CBC knew that. That's what the court ruled in the end. The CBC was just harassing the Conservatives and trying to censor them. Here's what censorship journalists actually looks like in Canada.
Ms. Freeland, how come the IRGC is not a terrorist group? Why is your government supporting Islamo-nationalism? What? Excuse me. What are you doing?
You're under arrest for assault.
Sir,
why are you pushing me? You're under arrest for assault.
Who are you?
You're under arrest for assault.
What are you talking about? Police, you're under arrest.
Okay, back to the unfunny CBC video. Here, watch almost a full minute.
He just doesn't check his email, but he did reach out to me personally with a very thoughtful robocall.
I'm common sense conservative leader Pierre Poilievre calling to give you a special invitation to my Spike the Hike, Axe the Tax rally at 1 p.m. Sunday, March 17th in Halifax.
And the next Prime Minister of Canada, Pierre Poilievre.
Happy St. Patrick's Day, Halifax! I can resist everything except temptation.
I tried to get Pierre to notice me by playing it cool. But I did have to stand in line with my fellow patriots. Wow, Pierre Poilievre, such an honor to meet. My name is Dan, I'm with 22 Minutes. It's so nice to meet you. Canada's next Prime Minister and laser eye surgery success story.
Is that funny? The laser eye surgery thing, I don't know if Pierre Poilievre has had laser eye surgery or if he's wearing contact lenses. I really don't know. anything about Poilievre's medical situation. It's a weird personal comment and a bit of a laugh that the CBC thinks Pierre Poilievre, not pretty boy, clothes horse, Mr. Hair, Justin Trudeau, Mr. Fancy Socks, is the one obsessed with cosmetics. But mainly, that's your first best line? You've been waiting for hours. You've had hours to think of a line, and that's all you've got. And in fact, it looks like they were preparing for this for days. That first scene looked like it was filmed in a hotel room, I think. Did they fly this guy in for this or something at taxpayers' expense? I don't know. Here, watch the next few seconds.
Congratulations. I think you're doing an amazing job. If it was up to me, you'd be the leader of the opposition for the rest of your life.
We know that. We know you're opposed to Poilievre and the Conservatives. You sue them, you hate them, you attack them. But this is your work time, and your job at work is to tell jokes or be funny. Telling the leader of the Conservatives that you hope they never win is what you think to yourself in your mind quietly. You don't make funny jokes about that. You don't say, I hope you never win, because that's too on the nose, and that's not funny, right? You try and find funny ways to say that. I'm just giving advice. Now, Poilievre was obviously caught unawares here. He's at a Conservative Party event. He's meeting Conservatives. He's in the handshaking selfie line. He's in the zone. Hi, how are you? Let's have a photo. Hi, how are you? Thanks for your support. And the CBC comedian presents himself, doesn't really identify himself, does he? My name is Dan, and I'm with 22 Minutes. He doesn't say his last name, and he says 22 minutes, not this hour has 22 minutes. I honestly think Poilievre might have missed who this guy was, because no one else watches the show. No one has heard of Dan on 22 Minutes of You. And I think it was deliberately done to be quick and confusing. Our David Menzies always says, David Menzies with Rebel News. He always says that, not I'm David with Rebel, because people might not catch that. This CBC activist was trying to be a trickster. Now, Poilievre took a moment to switch gears mentally, took him about 2 seconds to get into gear, and he says his line about the government comedian having to earn a living rather than living off the taxpayer dime. Now, right there, Poilievre just gave more time to the CBC provocateur than Justin Trudeau has ever given to any of our staff combined in the last 9 years. The CBC might not like Pierre Poilievre's answer, but he answered, and he didn't call the cops on them. He didn't have the guy arrested. But look at this. Look at the video at 1 minute and 15 seconds into the video. Just watch for a couple seconds.
Rather than getting it from taxpayers' money.
I love that you're cracking down on
Look at that again for a second.
Taxpayers' money.
I love that you're
Did you see that? It's an amateur edit. They cut something out of the video. Did you see it sort of jerked for a second there? What did the CBC cut out? Why wouldn't they show that? Did Poilievre say something they didn't want the public to hear? Why would they cut anything? Wasn't the whole interaction interesting? Of course it was, but was it embarrassing to the CBC? I mean, did Poilievre say anything dumb? Probably not, or the CBC would have aired it. That would have been hitting the jackpot, right? Did the comedian say something dumb or rude or false or worse? If not, why did they cut it out? Don't you think the CBC should have shown the full video? If not, why didn't they? Did the Liberal government tell them not to? I put these questions to the CBC. I got an answer from them, and I'll tell it to you in a moment, but I want to finish the video as they presented it. Okay, back to the video. We'll pick up after their stealth edit. Take a look.
I love that you're cracking down on crime, all right? I love that you're cracking down on murderers, thieves, CBC journalists. I love that you're cracking down on axing the tax.
That's why your ratings are so terrible. All right, my friend.
No, I think that's heartland.
So the CBC activist continues to babble, even after Poilievre is done with him. You can see that other people are shaking Poilievre's hands, but the CBC loser is still there babbling away. Okay, fine. This is supposed to be performance art. The CBC guy has had hours, probably days, to think about his lines. And what does he have? I love that you're cracking down on crime, murderers, thieves, and CBC journalists. Okay, my first objection is, where's the funny part? Isn't the whole premise here that we have to tolerate this guy's antics because he's just joking? But where's the joking part? You're cracking down on crime, and the joke is he's treating the CBC like murderers. I think that's a joke. But he's not, is he? Not even a little. I mean, not even enough to make a joke about it. I mean, that joke might work with Chrystia Freeland when they actually did crack down on a journalist, David Menzies, and arrest him and put him in a police car. But this CBC loser is just hanging around, babbling on while everyone else has got their handshake and selfie and moved on. He had his moment to get something funny out. It didn't really happen. So he's sort of sticking around, trying it again. It didn't work. It's a bit pathetic by now, don't you think? Poilievre pokes back that the CBC ratings are terrible, and the CBC guy says, I think that's Heartland. Now, I had to Google Heartland, I admit, and I discovered it's a CBC show, sort of a family drama. I get it. And it actually looks like it's been a rare CBC ratings success, in the United States at least. Here's a story that says so. A couple of years ago, saying Heartland is actually pretty popular in the U.S. So the joke doesn't even work even if you understand the reference to Heartland. Heartland's actually doing well, unlike 22 Minutes.